in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's webcast titled Cherry Picking for Big Winners. My name is Brian D'Amico. I'm the Manager of Educational Services here at VectorVest. I'd like to welcome you all to today's live event. It's my pleasure to be the host for today's webcast. Today's guest speaker is Steve Chappell. He's the Director of Educational Services here at VectorVest. He's actually one of the top instructors across the country on both stock and option trading, so we're really lucky to have him here today. Today he's going to be teaching us how to really take the hard work out of investing and make it easier than ever to pick winners and avoid losers. Throughout the webcast, but at the end of the webcast, we will open it up for questions. So what you're going to see on your screen now is a way to submit questions. You can even submit comments if you like. If you see something interesting or something you just learned, go ahead and just put it into that little box there where you see where it says Enter Question for Staff. So you can submit questions there. You might want to hold off on some questions till the end because we will have a Q&A period. But you can enter questions there. But if you notice that Steve passes by a certain subject and he didn't answer your question, go ahead and type it in there. We'll be answering questions in the background for Steve throughout the webcast. If it does minimize, there you see a little orange arrow. That will appear in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. All you have to do is click that little orange arrow one time, and it'll make that question box reappear, and you can enter questions for the staff, and maybe Steve will ask you to raise your hand throughout the webcast, things like that. So without further ado, it's now my pleasure once again to welcome Steve Chappell. Welcome, Steve. Thanks for being here
Brian.
today.
Hey, thanks for the great and warm and welcoming introduction. It's my pleasure to be here with you today, as cherry picking is something that I have an extreme passion for. And so just a few quick things to get in order before we really begin the presentation. I want everybody to grab a notepad and some paper, or some paper and a pencil if you can. I realize this is the age of technology, so if that's an iPad or whatever the case may be, something there that you can take some good notes on, and I'll try to bring note-taking opportunities to your attention as we come upon those during the presentation. And so while we're waiting for some folks to just get their mind right and get ready to learn and receive the information, first thing I'd like to see is where are you joining us with us from today? What part of the U.S., what part of the world are you joining in? So if you just chat that in your chat box, we'll start to take a look. We got Texas, we have Boston, Las Vegas, one of my favorite places, Florida, wow, and there are so many people here. They're streaming by so fast I can't keep up. I see some Canada in the house today. Saskatchewan, we have Flint, Michigan, Arkansas, Arizona, San Jose, California. So all across not only the U.S., but it looks like at least Canada, and I'm sure there's other areas of the world accounted for here as well. So that's great. Next thing I want you to do, raise your hand if you are seeing VectorVest for the very first time. So you should have a little raise hand icon on that control panel on your screen. And just raise your hand if you're seeing VectorVest for the very first time. Oh wow, looks like we have so many folks here seeing VectorVest for the first time. That's great. And if you're here seeing VectorVest as a current subscriber, you know, whether you're brand new to VectorVest, seeing it for the first time, or a full-blown subscriber on a current basis, you're going to get a tremendous amount of value out of today's webcast. So I think at this stage, it's just time to get right to it. And so the first thing I want you to do is I want you to take that piece of technology, or take that notepad and pen that you were able to scrounge up, and I want you to put 3 things in there right away. And these are the 3 questions that one must answer in order to really cherry pick for big winners. First thing is you have to know when to buy. So just put a number 1, and the first thing that I need to accomplish is to figure out when to buy. The great news is, of course, VectorVest is going to have all these answers, and we're going to show that to you as part of the webcast. Number 2, I'm going to need to know what to buy. As an investor, knowing when to buy is perhaps the most important thing, but certainly this is a cherry-picking webcast. We are going to favor certain stocks over others. We need to know which ones to pick. So number 2, again, is what to buy. Number 3 is when to sell, the all-important question. I've even seen some people type in early on, before we even began the webcast, can you give us some exit strategies for these cherry-picking tactics you guys are always educating us up on? And we're going to do that today. In fact, we're going to show you one of the most effective ways that we've seen to use some of the VectorVest proprietary indicators on knowing when to sell. And that is the bottom line. That's how you make profit in the end, is locking in those gains. So we are going to show that to you. So just a quick recap. We're going to cover three main subjects in today's presentation. We're going to cover when to buy, we're going to cover what to buy, and we're going to cover when to sell. So hopefully you're ready to receive this information. Get your, stand up and get some mojo back, get some enthusiasm back, get your mind right, and here we go. First thing I'm going to do is take us right into the platform. All right, so here we are with VectorVest 7. And of course, I'm using the real-time edition. It's 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, so of course the markets are closed and nothing is ticking along. But the first thing I got to address, since we have a lot of people here seeing VectorVest for the first time, is how we determine when to buy, when to start buying stocks altogether. Because believe me, and I know many of you already know this, there is a time to buy stocks and there is a time not to buy stocks, right? So 2008, for example, was not a great time to be buying stocks for most of the year. And so right here on the home page, as it is loaded on your screens currently, it begins to address that all-important riddle. Is it okay to buy stocks today or not? And the first thing I want to draw your attention to is hopefully the thing that sticks off the page the most. That's our market timing gauge right at the top center of the VectorVest 7 platform. And you'll notice here it says the color guard is bullish. VectorVest advocates buying safe, undervalued stocks that are rising in price at this time. So here you have a piece of information telling you now is the time to be buying stocks. Now is the time to be cherry picking for stocks that can outperform the market 2 and 3 and 4 times over. And so that should be exciting because a lot of the things that we're going to learn today can be applied tomorrow going forward, which is great. A lot of us are going to be snowbound. I'm coming to you here from Charlotte, North Carolina, and we're expecting the snow to start accumulating in just about another half an hour. And I think they're expecting somewhere between 5 and 14 inches. And believe me, in many parts of the U.S., that's not a big deal. In Charlotte, they are not ready for that kind of situation. So I might spend a lot of time tomorrow just in front of the computer doing some trading and looking at these cherry-picking tactics. We'll see. But anyhow, whatever your situation may be, tomorrow would be a good opportunity to apply the knowledge that we're going to learn today. All right, so with that out of the way, let's dig a little deeper into the analysis. The color guard needle is, as you can see, is 3 ticks into the green. And it is because it takes a look at this color guard box here just below. And here we track all of our very important market analysis indicators. In the first column, we track price. This is an arithmetic average index price of all 8,151 stocks we track on the U.S. market. Now, we do track other markets around the world, so if you're coming from us via Canada today or via the UK or wherever it may be, we have a VectorVest solution and market timing appropriate for those particular countries. Okay, and it's all going to work the same way. But you can see it turned green today, and that's because it's higher on a week-over-week and day-over-day basis and working off of a yellow a week ago. So it's a brand new, fresh green light, and these are great opportunities. When we move from yellows and reds into that first green, a lot of times these are beautiful entries into the next market rally. So we really look at that price column a lot. Okay. The next column is RT. That stands for relative timing. It looks at the short-term direction of the composite price. It's on a 0 to 2 scale. And of course, we monitor the movement of that indicator on a day-over-day and week-over-week basis. Since it's higher week-over-week and higher day-over-day, and above 1, it turned green compared to last week's yellow. From there, we look at the overall health of the market. We look at the number of buy recommendations we have in VectorVest compared to the number of sells to determine strength or weakness in the broad market. Is there broad market support or is there broad market weakness behind the current rally? And you'll notice it turned green today because it's higher week over week and day over day. And it's also above 1 indicating there are more buys than sells. And of course, we can see that there are currently 1,183 stocks out of the 8,151 that have a buy recommendation in VectorVest. And that's significant. It's very difficult to get a buy in VectorVest. So there is some broad market support behind this latest rally, which is good news. Again, good news all across the board. Okay? In the next column, we track what's called an MTI, or Market Timing Indicator. It's also cast on a 0 to 2, and because it's above 1, we would say then that the underlying, the long-term trend of the market is up at this time. So just a lot of positives going on, and of course that's a brand new occurrence. Just yesterday, the long-term trend was still considered down. So it just turned up today. Great news. And that takes us to a trend column where you can see both the short and long-term trends are now up. Further reinforcement on buying stocks. And we are still in a confirmed down, which is interesting. So we haven't seen a significant enough move quite yet. We'll have to look at tonight's close to see if we get our confirmed up call. It's very, very likely to occur since the buy-sell ratio is already above 1. And we have a green light in the price column of the color guard. So again, a lot of very, very positive market timing aspects to the current market. Now, for today's purposes, it's great that we have all of the market analysis lining up to be buying stocks today. In order to get you prepared for what stocks to buy today, I'm going to have to go back in time a little bit and show you the last time we began to see this kind of information and cherry pick stocks then, just so you have an idea of the characteristics you want to look for tomorrow. Okay, so my first job here is helping you to determine when to buy. When to buy, we can buy tomorrow, but I want to show you how that translates, again, historically, to get a feel for it. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to take us away from the home page, and I'm going to take you into a graph called the market timing graph. And the market timing graph allows you to look at our market timing on a historical basis, or current. So from here, I'm going to go right up to the top and click on the Graphs tab. From the Graphs tab, I'm going to change it from a stock graph in the top left corner to a market timing graph. Okay, perfect. Now the first thing I want to do is just give you a quick feel for how our market timing works. Realizing there's always a little bit deeper down the rabbit hole that we can teach from, but we're going to give you the basics today for sure. What I'm going to do, what you're looking at right now is a little bit over a 1-year history of the VectorVest composite. So again, this is the 8,151 stocks that we track as one ticker symbol. And we do that because it represents the entire universe of stocks that we analyze on the U.S. market. So you may be familiar with looking at the Dow Jones or the S&P or the NASDAQ. Well, they're all enclosed within this one indicator. Okay? So we know when the price is rising, the market's rising. When the price is falling, the market's falling. Now, there are going to be triggers at which you want to first begin buying stocks. As we noted, we're getting one of those right now today as we speak. But let's go back and take a look at this time here. I'm going to zoom in from August to October of the prior year. Now, you can see on my current graph here, and I'll try to go at a reasonable pace because I know some of you have a little bit slower internet connections than others. As you can see, price is falling, 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 comes down, and eventually is going to hit a pivot low and start to rise up. So what I want to try to get across to you right now is how VectorVest analyzes that and addresses it and begins to get you buying stocks based upon the market change of direction. Okay, so the market comes down, 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 and of course it's going to hit a low right here on August the 30th. Hopefully everybody can see that. Okay, we actually closed at the bottom of the body of that candle. All right, and then the very next day we sort of have a doji there, and the market begins to explode up from there. So the first signal that you would receive from VectorVest indicating that the market has changed direction is something that's called the primary wave. The primary wave looks at the price of the composite on the day you're analyzing compared to 5 trading days prior. Okay? When it's higher, we'd say that the short-term or primary trend of the market is up. When it's lower, we'd say it's down. So right here on 9-4, let's see what happens when I add the primary wave signals to the graph. So here you can see we have a green arrow right there on 9/4/2013 that it's a preliminary indication that the market has changed direction. Notice I said preliminary. We call it the primary wave, so it's the first signal. It's not necessarily the most robust. It's the first indication. Now when price goes up for a second week in a row, week over week, so Wednesday to Wednesday to Wednesday or Thursday, 2 consecutive 5-day trading periods. When it goes up for 2 consecutive 5-day trading periods, we say we have a preliminary signal of sustainable trend. Okay, in other words, we feel it's far more likely at that stage that the market continues to rise, even than the primary wave. Okay, and then eventually we have that buy-sell ratio climb above 1, like we saw in the color guard earlier, and that gives you the broad market support. When price is higher for those 2 weeks and the buy-sell ratio goes above 1, we have what's called a confirmed call, and that's what we're going to be using in today's webcast for timing. So we have confirmed call situations. The one I'm going to key in on off this August 30 low is the one that was received on September the 11th, 2013. That is going to be our when to start buying. The reason I'm doing this is our confirmed calls are our tried and true market timing. They've been here since I started with VectorVest over 13 years ago. We've introduced newer and some would think better timing systems over the years, but this is where it all began, and these are the best timing signals to keep you on the right side of the market most of the time. Okay? It's called the confirmed calls. They happen again when price goes up for 2 consecutive 5-day trading periods, and the buy to sell ratio, let me make this an area graph so you can see it better, and even change the color. We can see that the buy to sell ratio is also above 1. In fact, as of 9/11, the buy to sell ratio is already at 2.36. So we were waiting on price there to hit that 2 consecutive up weeks in order to get the confirmed call on 9/11. Sometimes you're waiting on the buy to sell ratio, other times you're waiting on price behavior. That's your when to buy. So on when to buy, you're waiting for a confirmed up call. And one last time in summary, 2 consecutive 5-day up periods and the buy to sell ratio closing above 1. All right. As a general rule, it's going to be okay to hold on to stocks until just the reverse happens. Here you have a confirmed down marker that came in on 12/11/2013, indicating that the price of the composite now is down week over week for 2 weeks, and the buy to sell ratio is below 1, indicating broad market weakness. Now I realize in this particular case, and this does happen from time to time, the market just decided to go right back up and establish a pivot low right there. And that's going to happen, and that's okay. What you don't want to happen is ignore the signal only to find out that you're in a situation, and let me show it to you because it's noteworthy, only to find out you're in situations more like these. Oops. Let me drag it back for you, get a better picture. Situations like these, June 11th of 2008. Okay? I can even go higher up the ladder. November the 1st of 2007, where we wrote an essay the very following day saying we could be heading into a long bear market. And so you never ignore the confirmed down. As far as when to sell, the primary reason is always going to be a confirmed down situation. at minimum, you're going to tighten stops, protect profits, that kind of thing. But think about going ahead and taking your position off the table, taking your profit, moving on to the next trade down the line. All right, we're going to talk about how to manage the individual positions along the way as well. But one of the focuses on when to sell, and you might make a note again on your pad, is a confirmed down call. Okay, it's just not worth the risk. Now, if you're somebody who's trying to avoid the taxes, I get it. You know, you at least want to do options or something to protect the profits that you have with your current trades. All right, so I'm going to go back to where we are currently. And other piece of news for you, I am going to do a setup that just occurred a few days ago. So I'm going to give you this September run. We're going to focus on that, and then I'm also going to give you a more recent example as well, just to give you a reinforcement on the subjects. So when to buy, confirmed up. When to sell, from a market perspective, confirmed down. Now what we have to establish is the what to buy. So when we get the confirmed up, like we have on September the 11th of last year, that should be popping back onto your screens here momentarily. When we get a confirmed up like we had right here September 11 and the market goes on a nice run, what stocks do I buy? It stands to reason if I was an average stock picker, I should get market performance and I should have made some money. But this is about cherry picking for big winners. So what kinds of stocks of the 8,151 that we currently track, what kinds of stocks, what qualities do I want to look for? All right, so let's take the next step. The next step in VectorVest is incredibly easy. We're going to go to Viewers. There's a Viewers tab, and in Viewers, you're going to have something called the Stock Viewer. The Stock Viewer is going to take all 8,151 stocks, and it's going to rank order them from top to bottom, and it's going to do that for every single tick throughout the day if you're looking at real-time data, or if you're an end-of-day user, you only look at it after the market's closed, you will see how the stocks finished out the day from top to bottom, from what we think is the absolute best stock all the way down to the absolute worst if you looked at that many positions in the grid. All right, so I'm just going to push this little panel on the left off to the side, and I'm going to just bring us current for the moment, and we can see what stocks are up there right now. Okay, we have Green Mountain Coffee. You heard of that stock before? Well, wasn't there a nice little buyout from Coke, or some participation now from Coca-Cola and Green Mountain? Sent this stock on a skyrocket here just about a week or so ago. It's now up to $119 a share. Okay. So I'm going to work my way across Stock Viewer just to give you a feel for the information that you get from VectorVest and why Green Mountain is at the top of the list right now, and why Questcore is the #2 favorite stock. Silicom is 3, Alexion is 4, and so on down the list. Okay. Green Mountain is at the top. It is optionable. I know that by the little X next to the exchange letter. It's also O for over-the-counter, or NASDAQ. If it was New York, it would have an N, A for American, B for Bulletin Board, P for Pink Sheet, and so on. The price is currently $119.40 as of the close, and it's up another $8.48 today compared to the prior day's close. That's a 7.65% increase over the last day of trading. First interesting piece is price is higher than the value. Value is what we think that the stock is currently worth right now. Okay, it's what we feel the stock is currently worth right now. So Green Mountain on a fair value price point in the market is $82.59. That's an important piece of information, don't you think? The stock is currently trading well above the $82.59. So realize this, value is not a target price. It doesn't mean Green Mountain's going to come down tomorrow and start racing towards $82 a share. What it tells you is if you're going to buy Green Mountain Coffee Roasters now, you're paying a premium. You're paying a little bit more than what would be considered fair for the share. Okay? As a general rule, you want to favor undervalued stocks like Questcor, who's trading at $66 and the value is $114. Okay? There are exceptions. Green Mountain Coffee Roasters does not have a lot of competition. So a lot of times stocks like that, or a Netflix, or even a Google, situations like that, you can have stocks whose price typically does trade above the valuation, and that's because they're the big gorilla. All right, so it doesn't mean that the stock price can't keep going up. To answer those questions, we look at the next set of indicators. The next one is relative value. Relative value looks at the actual price appreciation potential for Green Mountain regardless of the current valuation. Okay? It looks at the price appreciation potential regardless of the current valuation for the next 1 to 3 year time horizon. It's on a 0 to 2 scale, comes in at 1.27. That means that this particular stock, Green Mountain, should in fact appreciate in price quite nicely over the next 1 to 3 years. Think of it as upside potential. I could go far deeper, but think of it as your upside potential versus investing your money in a bond. You're far better off in Green Mountain Coffee. Now, the reality is you're even better off in Questcor because it's got an even higher relative value score. Okay? So when we're talking about how we've ranked the stocks out, you're still going to want to do some research on the numbers that we're going through right now just to get a better feel for the stocks that you're trading. So we're going to continue on with Green Mountain. It's got significant upside from here, long term. The next indicator is RS. That stands for relative safety. Relative safety. And that looks at the consistency and predictability of financial performance. What I mean, folks, let me just layman's terms. I'm going to try to layman term everything, okay? It means simply this. The stocks that do the best job of growing their earnings quarter after quarter after quarter, year after year after year, those are the ones that get the highest safety ratings. They're also 0 to 2. Green Mountain is one of those stocks. Anything above 1.4 on these scales are excellent. So while the upside potential may not be excellent, the safety rating certainly is. Okay? The upside potential is very good. The safety rating is excellent. That takes us to the next all-important indicator, and that's relative timing. Relative timing helps us finally, as investors, address the all-important question of when to buy stocks. I can't tell you how frustrated I get at seeing newsletter after newsletter after newsletter come into my inbox. That means they're coming into yours too, telling you to buy stocks that are going down in price. Folks, I got to tell you something straight away. That is the single worst thing you can possibly do, is buy a stock as it's falling in price. Absolute worst thing you can do is buy stocks that are falling in price. So the technique I'm going to show you at the end of today's webcast is all about buying stocks that are rising in price. Stocks that are doing what you want them to do, and that's rise in price when you buy them. Those are the stocks that can go up 2, 3, 4 times market performance. Okay? And you're not buying a stock and immediately 5 days later you're in the hole and you're like, what am I doing in this stock? I'm not making any money and it's just going the wrong way. So RT helps us get there. Relative timing looks at the short-term price direction. So RT is relative timing and it looks at short-term price direction. It's 0 to 2, so Green Mountain is going up fast. It's going up fast. It's 1.82 on that 0 to 2 scale. So hey, we got a 3-time winner here. We have a stock with very good upside. We have a stock that's excellent as far as safety, and it's rising in price faster than just about any other stock that's out there. So Green Mountain would be a good stock to consider on a current basis, just based on our core analysis. We're going to show you some cherry picking techniques here in a minute. Might change the answers a little bit. Okay? Might be a little too soon even on Green Mountain, believe it or not. So just wait a second. We're getting there. Okay? The next thing is VST. VST is actually how we rank the stocks top to bottom from number 1 all the way down to 8,151. Okay? And what it is it wraps the three indicators we just covered, relative value, relative safety, and relative timing, into one. It's slightly weighted to the timing, okay? Slightly unweighted to the value. But what it does is it allows you to sort and look for the best combinations of value, safety, and timing stocks. The stocks that have value, that have safety, and have good timing combinations. All right? The question then becomes, well, what do I do, Steve? Do I just run right out and buy the top 10 stocks that you got in your list? And these are the same folks that will call me up tomorrow and say, why is my stock down 5 points? But the objective here is to put the better stocks that are out there right at your fingertips at the top of the list. But that doesn't mean that we can't cherry pick for the best of what's there. It's very difficult to say Green Mountain Coffee Roasters is better than Questcor. On a linear one-to-one stock level when you're talking about over 8,000 stocks in the open market. What I can tell you from past experience is that the top 20 are certainly better than the next 20, are certainly better than the next 20. Okay, so it gets the sweet spot of the stocks you want to choose from at your fingertips. You want to look through those top 10 to 20 stocks and cherry pick 2 or 3 that you really love. And I'm going to show you how to do that. That's going to be the main benefit from one of the main benefits from the presentation you're going through with me right now. Okay, so I realize it's been a little bit of a departure, so I want everybody just to relax for a second. It's been a little bit of a departure from the when to buy. I want everybody to sit back, take a breather, including me. Okay, the when to buy is going to be on a confirmed up call. Remember, hopefully you wrote that down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this universe of stocks back to a recent confirmed up call because I want to be able to show you some performance. So what that means is there's a calendar up here above the stock viewer. When I click that, I can then march this back to September. Remember, we were looking at September the 11th of 2013. Notice when I get in the calendar, we had a confirmed up call on September the 11th. See the green box? We had a confirmed up call on September the 11th. So I'm going to click that. When I click that, this is a strength of VectorVest. How many people would love to see what stocks Kramer was pushing on 9/11 of last year and see how those stocks performed? Wouldn't that be great? You don't get that kind of information in a service, do you? All right. Here, what you're looking at, folks, you're looking at what VectorVest felt were the best stocks in the open market as of the close of business, September 11, 2013. And it's a good list of stocks. It's a really strong list of stocks. The interesting thing is many of you may not have heard of some of these stocks before, and that's the strength of VectorVest. It's not always going to be your CVS or your McDonald's or your Caterpillar or your Google or your Apple or your Netflix. A lot of times some of the better stocks are not the household names, although there's a lot of value in buying household names, and I'm not saying don't do that. Okay? But it's bringing great stocks to your fingertips. How do we know that? Well, I'm about to show you. Now here, what I'm about to show you next is going to be the most important part of the webcast. All right? I have people calling and flooding my phone box here at VectorVest with thank yous for releasing this charting technique that we've been talking about for months now called the Midas Touch. The Midas Touch is a graph layout you can apply on these stocks. Now, these are the stocks that you already know have the highest combinations of upside potential, safety, and current price trend. These are the stocks that you want to be picking from to begin with. You can't get these stocks without VectorVest. Okay? So yes, one of my focuses, I want you to buy VectorVest. Why? Because I know it works. I'm going to show you. Okay, we had a confirmed up call in the market. I'm going to show you our market timing works. Here we have the top 10 stocks from our 8151. I'm going to show you they work. I'm going to show you they work even better if you apply what's called the Midas Touch graph layout to them. So instead of going out and buying the top 5 or top 2 or top 1 or top 10, just out of, total disregard for looking at a stock graph, we're going to apply all the benefit of a stock graphing layout to the fundamental analysis. You with me? Okay, so here we go. It's going to be so simple you won't believe it. So I'm back on September 11th, 2013. For quick reference, if I go back to the market timing graph, here we are. All right, we're coming off a confirmed down and a pivot low. We get our confirmed up signal. We're going to buy stocks, and we're going to hold on to them until we get the next confirmed down. Okay, which ones do we pick? I'm going to go back to Stock Viewer. Well, certainly we want to pull from the top 10 to 20 VST stocks. That's, we're in business for a couple of reasons. We're in business for the market timing that we provide. Believe me, there's not another better system out there. I've seen them all. I teach trade shows around the world. I've seen every software product that's out there. And we're in business for the way that we rank and analyze stocks. Okay? We know what we're doing. We've got over 20 years of experience in this industry in doing it. We've been a software company since 1996. Ask anybody else you talk to how long they've been in business, catering to private investors. Okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these top 10 stocks. I'm going to just highlight them all. It's very simple. You just click on the bottom one, hold down Shift on your keyboard, click on the top one. They're all selected. Okay? I'm going to right click and I'm going to go to View a Stock Graph. Now, the stock graph is automatically going to populate with the current data. All right? So what I want to do before we do anything else, write this down. The first thing that you want to do when you come into the stock graphs on a current basis is you want to go to a 3-month window. You're going to find out that the 3-month window is extraordinarily important. You want to go to a 3-month window. So at the bottom, I'm going to click on 3 months. Okay? Write that down, 3 months. The next thing that we're going to do, everybody has this, okay? It's a benefit of being a VectorVest subscriber. There's a graph layout section on the control panel on the right-hand side. You're just going to open that up. There's a little arrow right here. You're just going to open up graph layouts. And then what you're going to do is click on the one that says Midas Touch. Midas Touch. Okay? Now with the Midas Touch layout, it's going to configure your screen to look like the one that you see now on mine. What we want to see in a perfect world scenario, we want to see all 3 of these lines hitting a new 3-month high. So a lot of you already think I'm crazy. But we want to see these 3 lines hitting a new 3-month high. And believe me, the 3 months is the secret sauce. That's why I told you the 3 months is very important. Okay? I've done thousands of tests with this thing. I've got people calling me all the time. The 3 months is necessary. Okay? Now, what are we looking at? Well, all of these averages are based on proprietary indicators. We're looking at a 10-period moving average of our calculated stop price. The green line is a 10-period simple moving average of our calculated stop for a stock. Now, the important thing for you to know now, I suppose, is our stop is a 13-week moving average to begin with. So we're smoothing it out a little bit more, okay? We're also comparing that to a 65-day. Why are we doing 10 and 65? Because they work the bestest. Anybody that knows me just got a little chuckle. I like to use funny words to know that you're still tuning into me. They're the bestest, okay? They work the best. On the bottom, we have a 40-day moving average of RT. That stands for relative timing. Again, that's the short-term price direction. We've smoothed it out to 40 days. So if I'm analyzing BITA, the stock you have on your chart in front of you on your desk right now, you would not take a position in this stock because not all 3 of them are hitting a new 3-month high. And it's virtually that simple. We also like to see the relative timing above 1. with the average, okay? Because we want bullish price momentum. But essentially, all you got to look for, all three of them hitting a new high. It's that easy. And what that's going to allow you to do is very quickly scan through the top stocks that we have and truly pick out the ones that can go up 2, 3, 400%, or the ones that can go 2, 3, 4 times market performance, certainly, in a very short period of time. Okay? So let's show you how we do it. I'm going to go back into the viewer here just to once again highlight I'm looking at the stocks as of the close of business, September 11, 2013. That was the day of the confirmed up call. I'm going to right-click on the stocks again, view the stock graph, and here we go. Nice thing about VectorVest, it remembers your layout. Okay, it remembers your layout, but it doesn't remember that you were looking at September 11th of 2013. So what I've got to do is drag this back, and I'm just going to look at my window of data, my dates down here. And I'm going to get this last date as close to 9/11 as I can. Actually, if I get in the same month, we're in business. So I'm going to stop right here. I'm going to click in this box, and I'm going to look from June 11th to September 11th. That's 3 months, right? June 11th to September 11th. So if I click on OK, I've got my 3-month window. I've got my hard right edge. And I'm looking at the top stocks on the day of our confirmed up call on 9/11. Okay? So there's no shenanigans going on here. It's the top stocks, the day of a call, looking at the 3-month window, Midas Touch. Okay? From here, what I'm going to do is just look for these, all those conditions to be being met. So on 9/11, with BITA, does it meet the criteria that I mentioned? Is RT above 1? Yes, it is. Are all three averages hitting a new 3-month high? And the answer there too, of course, should be yes. Okay? So BITA is going to get a check. We're going to take a position in BITA. How about AFOP? Now here's where it gets interesting, and here's where I want to pass along some expertise. Sometimes you're going to want to come up here to the top and change it to a crosshair cursor. As I come down and look at the current RT value, the 40-day RT value compared to the where it's been, it's actually off the peak. This is a warning shot. This is a warning shot. It means that the short-term price direction is dissipating. It's still nice and strong at 1.84, but it is dissipating from where it's been. Do you want to buy into a price trend that is dissipating, even if it's still going up? The answer to that question is no. The answer to that question is no. So we would take a pass on AFOP. Okay? If I go to the next one, CTHR, excuse me, Charles and Colvard. Yes, we would take a position. So you can feel free. If you want to start chatting in as I go through these, whether you take it or not, it's just good practice. Just type a yes or a no. CTHR is a yes. Thank you, Michael. Ellis Lyons, yes. Never mind, I got it. Yes, yes. Lots of yeses. That's great. Have you seen a cherry picking concept that is this easy before? Hopefully now your answer is no, 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 no. Okay, there you go. All right, so we go to the next one. APFC. That's a yes. Very good. Very good. All right, so we go to the next one. No. How long did it take me? Listen, if you have to look at the graph more than 5 seconds, you're doing too much work. You do not have a reason to buy it. Move on to the next one. Cherry picking is all about getting the best of the best of the best. Even if you like 3 or 4, take the 2 favorites. A lot of times the ones that look the best, those are the ones that do the best. That's why we're doing the webcast. Okay? So, and believe me, it's really no more to it than this. If we go to the next stock, IGTE we would take. IGTE we would take. Okay? Look how easy that was. Look how easy that was. And boy, I really like that one. Okay? Next one, LBMH. Boy, here's where just some experience is going to pay off. Notice how we're starting to pull back a little bit here with the RT. All right, we're really going to want to catch that one, and we will with this model. We're just not going to catch it quite on this date. So I'm going to tick forward just a little bit just to show you. We would have caught that sucker right here on 9/23. And do yourself a favor. I'm not going to show the quick test results on that one. It was a great decision on 9/23 to buy Liberator Medical. Okay? I got to go back to where I was because I'm not going to cheat. I'm not going to cheat and inflate my numbers. Okay? I'm not going to cheat. But that's one that you would have wanted to keep an eye on. The good news is it stayed at the top of Stock Viewer. You would have got it a few weeks later. You would have done it. Okay? Let's go to the next one. MEI. No. See how easy that is? Look, there's just too much chop. They're not they're not smooth and steady performers. Too much chop going on. So I go to the next one. NUS. We got a little bit of a pullback with the 40-day MA. It's not good enough. I don't care whether you have somebody that you know that works at New Skin. I don't care if Kramer's pushing it and say buy, buy, buy. I don't care what the reason is. If the Midas Touch says no, you don't buy it. That's it. This is your end-all, be-all final test. Folks, I don't care if you start with Stock Viewer. I don't care if you start with a list of 40 stocks that you just love. I don't care what you're looking at, but if the Midas Touch does not confirm to buy the stock, you don't buy it. And then what I want you to do is call me up in a couple weeks and tell me what a great decision that was. Okay? Let's go to the next one. VIPS. Yes, yes, yes. Okay? Yes, yes, yes. So they're all hitting three-month highs, and we've got some nice momentum. Okay? We got some nice momentum there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those stocks that we chose, and I'm going to show you that we actually would have picked out a couple of losers. Believe it or not, you're still going to pick some losers. Believe it or not, you're still going to pick some. I'm going to say that a third time. Believe it or not, you're still going to pick some losers. Okay? How's that for some realism? I'm going to show you how to cut them. I'm going to show you how to cut them early. I'm going to show you how to get the losers out and get some more of these winners back in. Okay? So I'm going to show you some performance. I'm going to show you how you can improve that performance. Then we're going to go to current basis. I'm even going to show you some stocks that are performing well today. I'm not going to show you the most current day because then you don't need VectorVest. And I am here to sell subscriptions. Let's face that. Okay? Even if it's trials. I don't care. You need VectorVest as much as I do, and I know that, and that's why I'm here. Okay? But let's look at some performance. So with performance, we're going to look at CHTR because that's one that we liked. APFC we liked. IGTE we really liked. VIPS we really liked. And BITA, we liked BITA quite a bit as well. Okay? The interesting thing you're going to find out is the ones that we really liked, they're probably going to be the ones that did the bestest in this test. Okay? So what we're going to do is I'm going to do something called a quick test. What quick test does is it's just going to measure price change, price performance for the stocks from a date in the past to a date in the future from there. It's just going to measure stock performance regardless of how you just buy and hold, essentially. So if I click on Quick Test Selected, it'll run them all the way up to current, and congratulations, these stocks are up 34%, and the market as a whole is up 7%. These stocks are up 34%, the market as a whole is up 7%. I'm going to say that one last time. These stocks are up 34%, the market as a whole is up 7%, and how hard was it to do? Now, having said that, how many of you are going to sit there and take a 48% loss on a stock? Hopefully none of you. Hopefully none of you. And I'm going to show you here in just a few moments how you can prevent from having to sit through that. Okay? I'm going to show you in just a few moments how you can prevent that situation altogether. But how nice is it to see a stock like VIPS go from 49 bucks to 103? How about BITA go from 16 to 32? How about even IGTE go from 26 to 32? All right, now, I said that you probably want to consider closing out of the stocks as of December the 11th, because that was a confirmed down, right? So we're going to change the date back to December 11th. I'm not going to cheat. We'll run till then. All right, that means we would have made 67% on BIDA, a lowly 60% on VIPS, 33 on IGTE, and some of our losers actually got worser. But if you look at it, this basket of stocks with zero management, zero, nada, nil, is up 20% and the market is only up 4%. That is 5-time market performance. 5-time market performance, zero effort. VectorVest told us when to buy. VectorVest told us when to sell them all that we hadn't sold already. And VectorVest told us which 5 to buy. VectorVest told us when to buy, what to buy, and when to sell. And folks, as far as I know, up until this stage, we're the only service that does that and does it well. Okay? Now, let's talk about these two stocks. I'm going to show you something that's brand new. So for all you old timers, hopefully you stuck around. I see quite a few. Man, we've got one of the best webcast attendances we've seen in recent memory. We've almost packed the house. We almost can't take any more people in the room. This is fantastic, okay? Because you're going to need to see this. I'm going to right-click on these two stocks, and you can graph stocks right from within the quick test, okay? So what I'm doing is I'm identifying the two stock positions that went awry. We lost 36% in CTHR and 22% in APFC. I'm not having that. I know you're not having it either. So what we're going to do is graph them and see how we could have used a graph layout to get out. How we could have used virtually the same graph layout to get out. We're going to add one thing to it, and it is the secret sauce. And so for any of you that are VectorVest subscribers that are here, you're learning something new today. Believe me, we have not shown this to anyone else yet. This is the first time. And I'm sure Brian is going to make me show it to more people. But this is the first time. Okay, so I'm going to go back here. I'm going to show you what I do. Okay? We're going to go back, and we're going to pretend with these two stocks that we're still getting in on 9/11. We're getting in on 9/11 because look at they look beautiful by the Midas Touch. Look at CTHR. It looks beautiful. It's one of the best ones we had. Anybody ever buy a stock at a peak? You know, it happens, right? So what can we do to prevent losing a substantial amount of money in these positions? There's lots of different ways. I'm going to show you an absolute technique, okay? And that technique is going to be so easy, it's going to blow your mind, and you're going to wonder why you haven't thought of it before if you're a VectorVest subscriber. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click on RT, just the plain old indicator. I'm going to right-click on RT, and I'm going to add a moving average. When I add a moving average, I'm going to go over to Simple, and I'm going to select 10 only because the one that I want is not there. All right, I'm going to select a 10-period simple only because the one that I want is not there. When I click on the 10, I'm going to change it to a 5. When I clicked on the 10, I'm going to change it to a 5. What you're going to want to do is save this layout as an exit plan. All right, you're going to add the 5-period moving average to RT on the bottom graphic. You're going to save it as a layout. Okay? So you come up to the layout section, we click Save, and I can click Add a new layout, and I'm going to call it Midas Touch Exit. This may even just show up by default here in the not-too-distant future. We're talking about putting it in Portfolio Manager as an exit there. That's how fond of it we've grown. Okay, I'm going to click on OK, and now I would have my Midas Touch exit layout. So I'm going to walk through this hard right edge as if we're just looking at this stock every day. And yeah, you want to come in and at least look at your stocks as frequently at night as you can, because you want to look for when to get out and cut the 33% loss you're about to take in CTHR short. Okay, so I'm going to go forward, and as soon as that 5-day moving average crosses below the 40, we're going to sell the stock the next morning. That's going to happen right here. Boop, boop. September the 24th. So just a couple weeks into the trade, this is telling you don't sit in this position anymore. Okay? Don't sit in this position anymore. Whether you've got a profit or a loss at this stage, move on to the next one. Whether you got a profit or a loss at this stage, move on to the next one. All right, so that one comes in on 9/24. Somebody can jot that down just so you can make sure you keep me honest here in just a bit. I'm going to go to the next stock. This is APFC. As of 9/24, APFC got pretty close, but it didn't cross yet. You see that? APFC got pretty close, but it didn't cross yet. So if I keep going forward, oh man, it actually crosses. I'm not even going to take this little one here. I'm going to call that I'm going to call that an even. Okay? So we're going to even get a little worse. We're going to go forward until we see that cross. There's that cross right there, clearly defined. Let me zoom in just so you can see this one better. Here you can see the 5 is coming down through the 40. That's on 10/7. So I got an exit of 9/24 on CHTR and an exit of 10/7 on APFC. An exit of 9/24, September 24th on CHTR and 10/7 on APFC. So if I go back to the results here, I'm just going to highlight those two stocks. These were our problem children, right? If I quick test these and only quick test them to the exit. Remember, we're not going to take this 36% loss. We're not going to take this 22% loss. That's not why we're here. Okay? What we're going to do is we're going to go back to the first date of 9/24. Which is just a little bit of time after we purchased it, a little less than 2 weeks. We got a little bit of a gain still in APFC. See how we're up 3% there? We're only down 12% in CTHR. We would sell that stock as of the next morning. Now, if I go forward a day, it takes it all the way to close. You would sell that stock as of the next morning, and you're going to take about half the loss that you would have taken had you stayed with that one. Okay? Now, with APFC, we still don't have any problems yet. We didn't run into a problem there until 10/7. So if I go forward to 10/7, here's the good news. You just turned a loser into a winner. APFC is still up 5%. You're going to close it at tomorrow's open and take that gain. You're going to close it tomorrow's open and take that gain and not take the loss. And you're going to also realize if you didn't close CTHR already that you should have done that a couple weeks ago, because now you're down another 5%, and that's where the snowball starts. Well, it's already down another 5%. Maybe I just stick with it. Use the 5-period moving average compared to the 40. When it crosses down through, no matter what stocks you're trading, take those profits. Take them quick. Guess what? Look at the current stocks in Stock Viewer. Line them up with the Midas Touch. Get in the new ones. Turn and burn. You're going to be making money hand over fist. I'm so excited I can't even talk anymore. Okay? So I think what we're going to do now, I'm really excited to bring the webcast to you today. I do want to talk briefly about some special offers we have for people that are joining us today. For those of you that stick around, I'll run us through a quick assessment of a current situation, and then I already see the snow accumulating in the parking lot. So at some stage here, my wife's going to want me to try to get home. But I will answer as many questions as I can, okay? First thing you're going to get, if you even take out a trial subscription to VectorVest, okay, we're going to offer free trial subscriptions to VectorVest. Folks, I said free. You're going to get the market time engaging color guard on knowing when to buy. You're going to get the stock viewer on knowing what to buy. You're going to get the Midas Touch graph layout that helps you know even more of what to buy. You're going to get streaming data on a 15-minute delay if you take out our intraday selection. Okay? You're going to get 15 years of historical data. You're going to get a total value of $895 a year. You can try it free for 30 days. Free. Absolutely free. All you're going to do is you're going to go, and I'm going to have my cohort, Brian, if you will, type in the special link into the chat box, so that you will just be able to click the link there and take out the trial offer, good for free 30 days. All you do is go to www.vectorvest.com/cherry-picking. You're going to get the complete VectorVest system, all the things that we just mentioned. For those of you who may currently be on a trial or are already ready to commit, you realize that this program has value to it. You already know it's got value. Look, for the next 24 hours, we're going to offer you an $895 subscription for $795. It's only good for the next 24 hours, and that will be available at the next website that you have listed on your screen currently. That is www.vectorvest.com/CP. In addition to that, I got to sweeten the pot one last time. I'm going to give you a $295 VectorVest voucher for any future VectorVest event. Folks, that lets you come to our 2-day investment seminar free of charge. You can come to a 2-day seminar free of charge and learn techniques just like you learned, some even better, okay? Although, honestly, I think the one that we just showed you is probably the best one we got going. $295 value can be applied to any seminar in the future. If the seminar is $2,500, this would take $295 off the price. It would allow you to go to one of our best seminars we've been teaching for 16 years, free of charge. Free of charge. So again, that website is again listed on your screen. You're either going to go to www.vectorvest.com/cherry-picking for the trial or www.vectorvest.com/CP. And now what I'd like to do is just run us right back into the program real quick. And I know the snow's accumulating, Brian, but we got to show them one last thing, and then we'll take some questions, maybe at least 3 to 5. On a current basis, let's go up to now, man. Now's what matters. Now's what matters. We had a confirmed down call. We're starting to see some resurgence. If you guys were watching my daily color guards last week on Thursday, I told you it looked like the current pivot low was going to hold. I told you it looked like the current pivot low was going to hold. If you would have come in here to VectorVest that night, this is the same list of stocks you would have seen that night when I said the pivot low looks like it's going to hold. Okay? If you would have graphed these stocks, I'm going to give you the answers. We don't need to look at all the charts again. I'm going to give you the answers. I should have them here for quick reference. 26214 VRX. Well, let's take a peek. Let's take a peek. Let's not cheat. All right, so I'm going to right-click. I'm going to view the stock graphs. I'm going to go to the 3-month window. We're going to go back to 2.6. Green Mountain Coffee Roasters. Boy, love the stock. Midas Touch right now doesn't quite like it yet, okay? Now, if you were in for the big explosion, that was one thing. What it's saying right now is we'd like to see it continue on a little bit further before we'd actually buy into Green Mountain Coffee Roasters at this stage, okay? So we go to the next one. Let me take the 5 off. We'd take an SILC, okay? I would not take MTRX. See how easy that is? SYNA, no sir, not yet. No on AKAM. Yes on BIIB. Yes on GPRE. Yes on ILMN. And ALXN. All right, everybody with me? Hopefully you got that. We're going to come right back over here. We're going to pick on some of our favorites. ALXN, ILMN, GPRE, BIIB. Boy, some of them were just grouped right together there. And SLIC. Let's just do a quick test on those. We're up 6% since the close of business 2.6. 3 times market performance. You're going at a clip of 465% a year. It's bananas. All right, Brian, I'm going to go ahead and bring you back if you're still there, and we'll take maybe a few questions. I see that these guys have been answering questions.
Steve,
Go ahead.
Yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't able to keep up with the hundreds of questions, but we had a lot of great feedback for you in there. So I'll start with that. I can't read them all, but this one from Richard: great info that he can use. Some people are saying the best webcast that they've seen. So a lot of great information here. Yes, there's been questions on will there be a recording. Yes, there's going to be a recording, but make sure you can take advantage of the special price and the special offer that Steve had, because he said he let you know it's only good for the next 24 hours. But you will get an email, and I'll put it in the chat box too, a link to the recording. Let's see. The one question I promised everybody I'd ask you at the end here was some of the stocks that you were showing. Would it be okay, if they had a sell, like it had a sell recommendation on it, or they're saying, can you use this for S&P 500 stop ascending search, which returns some stocks that have a sell recommendation?
Okay.
How does that work?
Yeah, great question. So with with searches that are bottom fishing type of searches, it's usually not going to translate very well because the stock prices have been beaten down. That's why it's a different type. So let me address that specific question probably a little bit more than I should, just because I know now that people need the message. Okay, I know now that people need the message. So if I go back to the timing graph, you want to go bottom fishing at market bottoms. You want to go bottom fishing at market bottoms is my answer to the question. So how do we define a true market bottom at VectorVest? I have to go back further. Okay, I have to go back further. And when our market timing indicator, I'm going to keep it easy and just on one. When our market timing indicator falls below 0.6, you are searching for a market bottom. Okay, you're searching for a market bottom. The MTI right here is at 0.43. Hopefully everybody can see that. That is when those types of searches, S&P 500 stop ascending, Russell 2000 divided by RT, anything that's in the searches bottom fishing folder, that is the most appropriate time to look for those stocks, and forget about the Midas Touch. Forget about the Midas Touch. At market bottoms, the most explosive stocks are the stocks that are on sale. By the time you get to a confirmed up call, a lot of the best sale prices are gone. By the time you get to a confirmed up call, a lot of the best sale prices are gone. Start using your Midas Touch. Start using your Midas Touch once you get 2 to 4 weeks into a rally. Start using your Midas Touch once you get 2 to 4 weeks into a rally. Bottom fish at market bottoms. Hopefully that answers the question.
All right. Just a few questions from current subscribers. That got one saying from David, I'm an end-of-day subscriber. Can I upgrade to this package? Definitely.
Yes.
Just use the link that we put in there, the VectorVest.com/CP. You can upgrade and get this deal. Another gentleman asked a question. I lost it in the question list here, but asked if I'm on a monthly subscription, can I take advantage of this? Definitely. Yes, you can use the same link and the VectorVest.com/CP, and you could get the bonus of this discounted offer plus that seminar certificate that Steve talked about there. A lot of the other questions that came in, Steve, are actually questions that can be answered if they just call our support line. They're asking more specifics on how to scroll through graphs and how to set up the moving averages again and how to access the Midas Touch layout. So a lot of those questions are in there. The one last question I'll ask for today, I guess, is they were talking about buying now. I was letting people know the soonest we can get a confirmed call, if I did my math correctly, would be Friday, which would be a week after the last primary wave up, or the first primary wave up we got.
That would be correct. Yeah, that would be correct. That would be correct because, yeah, we're waiting on price. Yep.
Yep. But you could, you definitely been, you showed how you could use you were getting some signals in there as far as the green lights and the primary waves up and everything. So.
Yeah, there was just too much down action. That was resounding with me as I went further into the presentation. There was too much down action here. It's going to take, as Brian said, at least until Friday to overcome some of that downside action. Yep.
Yep. I guess one last question that people wanted to know, can this be used on things like ETFs?
Yes. The answer, here's the great news. I just did a seminar. I know Bob Hendy, at least he was in here. Bob Hendy was at the seminar in Vancouver. I showed you how you can do this in Canada. I've showed this in Australia. I've showed this in the UK. I've showed this everywhere. I don't care what you're looking at. The answer is yes. ETF, stocks, doesn't matter. Yes, 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 yes.
All right. Well, I did put a link in the chat box, not only for the places to order, but also for a link to the recording. I know we will send you an email with the link, but sometimes those emails don't come through. Steve, I can't express enough how many positive comments came in the chat box for the webcast. But, a lot of existing subscribers saying great job. So let me post in the chat box as well our phone number. It's 888-658-7638. That's for support. So if you are an existing subscriber and you want some help on setting up this graph layout, just give us a call. You might not want to flood the line right after the webcast. Just maybe wait till tomorrow or so. So I'm just going to pass it over to you, Steve, so you can say your final goodbyes. But nice job, Steve.
All right, thanks. Well, folks, it's been my pleasure. I got a couple of Great Danes at home and a lovely wife who are anxiously awaiting my arrival ahead of the storm. So with that, I wish everybody all the best, and we'll see you right back here sometime in the near future or at a live event. And thanks again for tuning in. It's been my pleasure.